Okay, so it's just about 7. I'm going to go ahead and get started. Before I get started, I just want to let everyone know that this session is being recorded and will be uploaded to our YouTube channel for reference later on, or for anyone who would like to catch up before part 2 and part 3. And please make use of the chat or Q&A function throughout the presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions that pop up along the way. My name is Zoe Mills. I am the Adult Programming and Community Outreach Librarian at Tredyffrin Public Library. Thank you so much for joining me tonight to go over Microsoft Word. Part 1 will focus mainly on kind of like the layout of Word, some tools that you'll need to know or learn for parts 2 and 3, and how to open, save, and create new documents. Before I get started, I have a quick announcement. All of us at the library have been proud and delighted to be able to serve the community in a multitude of ways throughout the pandemic. Virtual programs like this one, plus electronic materials, reference chat, curbside pickup, and more have kept the community inspired, engaged, and connected. But the pandemic has also caused a loss of revenue at our libraries and has increased many costs. Now it is likely that cuts to services and programs may come. If you can give any amount, we are very grateful for your support. You can donate on our website, which is tredyffrinlibraries.org. If you pre-registered for this program, I did send out the presentation as a PDF document, and the link is provided in that document. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into Microsoft Word. The first part of this program is going to cover the Word interface and then main components of the program. First, I wanted to provide a little bit of background about Microsoft Word itself, and then kind of how this program series will function. First and foremost, Microsoft Word is a word processing program that allows you to create a variety of documents like letters, flyers, and reports. And this program is specifically based off of Microsoft 2013. So all of the images within this program, or within this lecture, is from Microsoft Word 2013. These are, we have the computers at the library. If you were to use the computer library when we reopen for the public, you would use Microsoft Word 2013. But just to note, newer computers will have Word 2019, or if you've recently downloaded or updated your Word program, it'll be Word 2019. There are very minor differences, and this class will cover the basics that you can take on to newer versions of the program. So first and foremost, let's go over what the start screen will look like and how to use the start screen. So when you open Word 2013 for the first time, the Word Start screen will appear, which is pictured here on the right. From here, you'll be able to create a new document, choose a template like resume, newsletter, memo. They have templates for anything and everything, honestly. Or you can access your recently edited documents. You can see it here on this example. Your recents will appear on the left-hand side, or you can open up another document that you're looking for. From the Word Start screen, you would locate and select Blank Document to access the Word interface. If you have Word on your computer, you can go ahead and open up Word if you wanted to follow along. Everything I'm talking about, all of the major components will have pictures during this presentation, so you don't have to follow along. But if you wanted to play with some of the components, feel free to open up your Word program. So the major component that I'll be going over tonight is called the ribbon, which is that top portion of your Word program once you open up a blank document. And the ribbon contains all of the commands that you will need to perform common tasks in Word. So you can see here on this image right here, we have the Home tab opened up, And this is where you can copy, paste, cut, or you can edit the text within your Word document. So you can change the font style, you can change the color, and you can even change the layout of the paragraphs. I'll talk a little bit more about each tab later on in this program. Like I said, it has multiple tabs, each with several groups of commands. So the main tabs will be File, Home, Insert, Design, Page Layout, References, Mailings, Review, and View. So the first two tabs that I'll be going over is the Home tab and the Insert tab. And I think these two tabs are the tabs that you'll use most in kind of like day-to-day usage. So if you're using Word for work, or you're using it just to maybe write or journal or to create a newsletter or write memos, you'll mostly use your Home tab and your Insert tab. The Home tab is your default tab. So when you open up Word and click blank document, it automatically opens to the Home tab. And the Home tab is used to access the most used commands for working with Word, including copying and pasting, formatting, aligning paragraphs, and choosing document styles. So Word has styles already set, kind of like if you have experience with HTML, which is just coding for websites. There are document styles or text styles for heading, body, and so on and so forth. Word has their own set. Calibri is their set font style, but you can change it if you so wish. The next tab, which is this one right here at the bottom, is the Insert tab. And this tab is used to insert pictures, charts, tables, shapes, cover pages, and more to your document, which can help you communicate information visually and add style to your document. When I'm using Word, either personally or for work, I often use the table insert, if not the picture. You can also insert shapes, smart art, headers, footers, and page numbers. The next tab, or next two tabs, will be your Design tab and your Page Layout tab. The Design tab is used to access design tools, including document formatting, effects, and page borders, which can give your document a polished look. So if you are working with a document that has different colors, you can set a color theme. You can edit paragraph spacing, add page color, or even add a watermark. So if you're working on documents that, are sensitive or can't be copied, you can add a watermark to it. Next is your Page Layout tab. So this tab is used to change the print formatting of your document, including margin width, page orientation, and page breaks. You can also, I believe, change the size of your paper. So if you are planning on printing a Word document and you're planning on printing to legal size, you can change it within Word itself so you know how much text can fit on a legal document or legal size paper. You can also set margins, the orientation. So if you're creating a document that doesn't have to be vertical, like up and down, you can have it in landscape if you want to. So it's longer, or it's wider than it is longer. You can also position images and tell Word how you would like text to interact with images. That's what wrap text means. And I'll go over that, I believe, in the second course or the second program of this series. The next two tabs are the Reference tab and Mailings tab. So the Reference tab will allow you to add annotations to your document, such as footnotes, citations, table of contents, captions, and a bibliography. So if you are using Word for school, so you have a paper due, you can actually Use Word to insert the citation and to create your bibliography or your cited references page. And they do have the major styles. They have MLA, APA, and Chicago, which is really, really handy. You don't have to drag out that big textbook of rules anymore. You can just use Word for that. You can also insert footnotes and table of contents if your document needs it. The next tab is the Mailings tab, and this is a great resource to quickly compose letters, address envelopes, and to create labels. So if you are working with labels and say you purchase an Avery label from Staples, you can actually look up the Avery. It's usually with Avery. You can look up on Word the label that you've purchased or the envelopes that you've purchased, and you click on the document. You'll just click labels and it'll ask you to look up the Avery number. It's like a product number. And when you find your product, Word will adjust according to that document there. So if you do a lot of mailing or you do a lot of like label printing, this will make it a lot easier than kind of figuring out where the stickers are and then placing your text and kind of printing and fixing it and then printing again and then fixing it. This tab will help you with getting the document right away and being able to do your work without kind of doing the guessing game. The next two tabs is the Review tab and the View tab. So the Review tab allows you to access editing features, including adding comments and tracking changes, as well as, spelling and grammar, changing the language. This is really great for collaborative projects. So I know when I was in school, both for my undergrad and graduate degree, I definitely used this tab quite a bit. When I would submit papers and receive them back, my professors marked them up using Word. In college, you no longer submit physical papers with the red ink. When you receive your paper, it's not covered in red ink, it's just covered in Word comments and markup. So here you can change how the markup looks. So simple markup, it'll just have like a crossed out line. No markup, it's just the original document. And then I think detailed markup explains everything that they've changed with your document. And you can also add comments. So if there's a paragraph that needs rewording or you don't like a certain sentence, you can highlight that, click new comment, and then type in any comments you have, and then it'll appear on the right-hand side of the document. The next tab is the View tab, and this allows you to switch between different views for your document and the split screen to view two parts of your document at once. You can also change how to see the ruler, guidelines, and navigation pane. The ruler is almost always displayed, but if for some reason it is not displayed, you can change it here so that you can see the ruler. Grid lines, it'll just look like a graph paper or a piece of graph paper, but it won't show up on the final product or if you were to print it out. I'll talk a little bit more about the different views later today. And then you can also switch to multiple pages or one page and how you arrange your windows. So if you're working in different windows, you have various Word documents opened up, you can kind of arrange those windows using this. And the last tab is the Drawing Tools and Format tab. So this is a contextual tab that will appear on the ribbon when you're working with certain items, such as tables and pictures. And this tab will let you format those items. So with the picture that I've provided here, this is for I believe, a shape rather than a table or a picture. So the drawing tools and the format will change depending on what item you are working with. So if you're working for a table, there will be a little bit more formatting options for you, as well as with pictures. You can change a little bit more with pictures and tables. But you can change like outline, fill color, the direction of the text, how the text aligns, its position, and then also where it lands on the page. So if you wanted a picture to be behind text, you can send it backward or bring it forward. And please let me know if I am going too fast. And please, again, make use of the chat or Q&A function. I'm happy to answer questions as we move along. And also, if you'd like to, I'm happy to share my screen at the end, or switch my screen share at the end of this program to show Word in action. You can see a 2019 version of Word on a Mac computer. So if you have a Windows computer or a Mac computer, it'll look a little bit different. All of the same functions are there, it's just organized a little bit differently. So please let me know in the chat or the Q&A if you're interested in seeing Word in action. So I want to cover what is actually on the ribbon. So we covered the tabs and their major uses. Next, what's on those tabs? What's on the ribbon? And the biggest thing that you need to know is the command groups. So each group, you'll have a certain number of command groups on each ribbon or each tab within the ribbon. And each command group contains a series of different commands. You just simply click the button or click the command to apply it. So for example, to bold highlighted text, you click the bold B within the font command group on the Home tab. So all of the command groups will have a name, and it'll be a small text at the bottom. So you can see clipboard is a command group, font is a command group, paragraph is a command group. And the name of the command group kind of gives you an idea of what each group does, or where you can find specific commands or specific tools to use. You can also click this arrow here. So some groups have an arrow in the bottom right-hand corner, which is squared right here. You can click that to see even more commands or kind of have advanced tools. So if you were to click this for the font, you'll see a lot more options for editing your font than just the quick access here. So when in doubt, if you can't find what you're looking for, just click the little arrow to see if your options are in the advanced command group. So another major component of Word is the ruler and the scroll bar. So I mentioned the ruler, sometimes it's displayed, sometimes it's not. Word is programmed to always, it's kind of just the default to have the ruler up. I know personally, I guess maybe because I've used Word for so long that I feel like I can't work without the ruler, but it's up to the user. If you don't find any need or use for it, you don't have to use it. But the ruler is located at the top of your document and on the left of your document. And this just makes it easier to make alignment and spacing adjustments. Or if you are using Word kind of like unconventionally, like you're not typing a letter or a memo or a document and you're using it to kind of organize pictures or print pictures out, you can kind of visualize how big the pictures are, how big tables are using the ruler as well. So it is to scale. So when you open up a document, it is to scale. So an inch is a real inch in real life if you have a big enough screen. Next is the scroll bar, which is always on the right-hand side. And this is just like with any other window that has a scroll bar. You can click, hold, and drag the scroll bar to scroll up and scroll down throughout the pages of your document. You can also use the up and down arrow keys on your keyboard or the page up, page down keys on your keyboard. Sorry about that. My cat is being very noisy. All right, so next is the document views, which you could have also accessed in the View tab on the ribbon. So the document views, there are 3 different ways to view the document. You simply click on, it's going to be on the bottom right-hand corner of your document, or you can access it in the View tab. The first mode is your read mode, and this displays your document in full screen. It'll look like kind of like a book. Your print layout is your default layout, and it shows the document as it would appear if it were printed. And then web page layout will kind of just get rid of the margins or the background, and it shows your document how it would look as a web page. I think I've only ever used the print layout. Maybe the read mode if I was kind of reading the document rather than typing or editing anything and I just wanted to read what I wrote. I sometimes have used the read mode, but I mostly use the print layout. Next is zoom control and word count. So zoom control is going to be on the right-hand corner, bottom right-hand corner of your Word program. So you can click and hold and drag the slider to use the zoom control, and the number on the right side of the bar reflects the zoom percentage. Usually it's default to 100. You can maximize it or decrease it as you see fit. If you don't want to click, hold, and drag, you can click the plus button or the minus button to zoom in or zoom out. Next is word count. So on the bottom, I believe it's right near the zoom. It's going to be on the bottom section of your Word program. You'll see just kind of like a random number. If you were to click that number, it'll give you statistics of your document. So it'll give you how many pages are in the document, how many words, how many characters without spaces, how many characters with spaces, how many total paragraphs, and how many total lines. And then you can also tell Word to include text boxes, footnotes, and endnotes within that count. If you have kind of like a word limit, say you're writing a paper for college and you have a 20,000 word limit, you can use word count to make sure that you're within that range. Or if you participate in NaNoWriMo, which is National Novel Writing Month every November, and you want to reach the 80,000 words by the end of November, you can use word count to kind of keep track of your progress. Next is page number and navigation. So navigation, if you were to open it, again, this is in the View tab. If you were to open navigation, it'll appear on the left-hand side of your Word program. And your page number is always going to be the bottom left-hand corner. The page number indicates where you are in the document. So say you're working on page 2, when you want to jump back to page 4, you can see where you are on the bottom left-hand corner. And this just helps you keep track of the number of pages your document contains. If you don't feel like going to the View tab, you can click the number indicator on the bottom left-hand corner to open the document navigation pane to see the page numbers and their kind of images on the left-hand side. All right. Next is the backstage view, and this is what you'll see when you click File. So this is where you would kind of save your document, open a new document, print it, anything like that. Protect the document, which is just adding a password so no one can, or anyone with that password can open your document. And you can also see some information about your document, such as the file size, how many total pages, how many total words, and how long you have been editing it. So you can see in the image here, the total editing time is 90 minutes. And then you can also see the last it was modified. So the last time any edits were made, or any time that you've saved the document, and then when that document was created and who the owner is. So everyone who has Word downloaded onto their computer will have their name, or whatever name you used to sign up for Word, will be the author. So if you're working on a document sent over by a friend or a coworker, it would most likely say their name instead of yours. And again, to access the backstage view, you would just click File tab on the ribbon, and then it would appear as such. So before I move on to the next bit of our program, do we have any questions about the various components or um, anything about Word, like the ribbon or any tabs or command functions? Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and move on. So next, and this is our last bit for the program today. So I want to go over creating and saving documents. So first and foremost, to create a blank document, you would just double click the Word icon on your desktop and click blank document to open a fresh slate. And then you can just begin typing, typing your document. You can also create a document using the templates. And a template is a pre-designed document that you can use to create a new document quickly. Templates often include custom formatting and design, so it can save you a lot of time and effort when starting a new project. So say you wanted to create a brand new resume, you can use Word templates to use a resume, so you don't have to worry about the design or the layout. You just plug in your information and you're good to go. To open a template, you would just double click the Word icon on your desktop, search for template in the search bar. You can try resume, letter, or newsletter, depending on what you want to write. If you were working in a document and you didn't have the landing page, you can click File and then New Document, and then it'll ask you if you want to do a blank document or a template, so you can open it that way as well. And I can show you what that looks like if you wanted to see Word in action. Next is opening a saved document. So you have to navigate to the Backstage view, then click Open. It's located on the left hand, that blue menu. Click Open, select Computer, then click Browse, and then a file finder or a file viewer will pop up, and then you can locate and select your document that exists on your computer, and then you click Open, and then you'll have your document. If you've opened the desired document recently, you can browse your recent documents rather than search for the file directly on your computer. I think this is handy if you're working on a really big project that's going to take several weeks and you work on it kind of daily. It'll always be in your recent document, so it makes it a little bit easier for you to just open and continue working. Next is saving documents. So when you are all done with your edits, I always recommend, before I kind of go into the steps of saving a document, I always recommend saving as you go along. Maybe save every 5 minutes, every 10 minutes, or every time you make a major change. I have definitely been victim of my computer crashing, or I lose power and my computer dies, and I didn't save my file as often as I should have, and I lost a big chunk of work. So now I always make sure that I'm constantly saving, sorry, so that all of the edits and all of the changes are constantly up to date. So the easiest way to save is to click Control S at the same time, or Command S if you're using a Mac. That'll automatically save it. Or there is a little floppy disk logo in the top left-hand corner of your program. You can click that every time you want to save. But in order to constantly save, you do have to save as first. And I'll explain those steps and what that means. So once you have a brand new document open and you've started typing and you want to save it to your computer, you have to locate and select Save command on the Quick Access toolbar. If you are saving the file for the first time, the Save As pane will appear in the Backstage view. To save the document on your computer, select Computer, then click Browse. The Save As dialog box will appear, so it'll give you kind of a file viewer or file finder. You select the location where you want to save the document, create a file name for the document, and then click Save. If you don't create a file name, it'll be saved as document 1 or document 2 or document 3, depending on how many document numbers you have. And then once you click save, the document will be saved. You can click the save command again to save your changes as you modify the document, or click Control S or Command S if you are a Mac user. And that's pretty much what I wanted to go over. I just wanted to make sure everyone was comfortable with navigating Word, understanding the ribbon and the different command buttons and how to open and save documents. Are there any questions or comments that I did not answer?
Thank you so much for joining us during the first iteration of the Introduction to Word program series. The second and third iterations will happen on January 19th and January 26th, 2021 at 7 p.m. If you are interested in joining us live, you can pre-register using the link in the description below. If not, programs 2 and 3 will be on YouTube shortly. Thank you.